Hello everybody, Kathy Arbor here, and let's hope this internet stays hooked up. Not like last Thursday. I do have the video coming. I'm just in the last stages of editing, and then I'll probably have it up either tonight or tomorrow. Last week, if you were with us, we did this red hot poker, otherwise known as Nifofia, and it's from Africa. So we did this one. Let's see, I think it's a little bit dark. Let me brighten this up a little bit. I really have a leg, I see. It's a little better. Hey Lena. Hey Tori, good to see you. So I was doing a bunch of gardening this weekend or last weekend, and all my blue geraniums are out, and they're so gorgeous. And I remembered last year when we did some of these embossing, I guess you could say. So these are on copy paper and watercolor paper, and these were I think this was a Trichosmia, and this is the blue geranium here. And on this is I think this one is mixed media paper, and it does look blue on the paper, that one, but on this paper, which was watercolor paper, it's actually purple. So depending on the paper you're using will depend on the color that comes out, which I thought was really interesting. And these are strictly the tannins from the leaves and the flowers. Hey Janet. Hey Michelle. Just saying hi to everybody. Looks like Janet got some Happy Mail. Awesome. Everybody loves Happy Mail. Okay, so I hope you're all having a fantastic day. It's a little humid and muggy here today. We're supposed to get thunderstorms again. So I'm hoping it doesn't come around till I'm done. These are some more. So these were a little bit more thicker stemmed, and that's why there's more green, because the juices got squished. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, but I love the blue. It's so pretty. But I'll show you these are what was squished. So these are the actual, the geranium. And these are called Roxanne, the name of them. And they're a beautiful color. And they have a fairly fine cut leaf. And the closer down to the ground, the bigger the leaves get. But I guess it's more in this color here, but I love that blue color. I think that turned out really cool. So I thought about doing some more of these, and then I thought, well, why couldn't we use watercolor and print with them? So what I did, it was last night, I got my watercolors out and some watercolor paper and also some copy paper, and I wet the paper with watercolors, really sopping wet. The whole thing was wet, both sides. And then I placed the fresh flowers and leaves onto the paper, pressed them down into the wet, and then took my brush and painted bits of watercolor on top of the leaves itself. And then I just put my Teflon mat on top, and it was underneath also, and I put a heavy book on top for the night so that I knew the leaves and flowers would be right into the paper. So here's what happened. So this is one of the bigger leaves. But isn't that gorgeous? Look at that. Now the flowers, they didn't do a whole lot, but the leaves did. But why can't we do flowers ourselves? So I thought it would be kind of neat to combine the two. And here's the flowers I was using. Or maybe we'll even try putting this through the embossing machine and see what it does. I made up just a couple of these. Here's the other one. This one's a little bit lighter. And this is the copy paper. And this one, I did a little differently. I wet the paper with alum water. So it was 1 tablespoon of alum water to 2 cups of water, hot water. And then I painted the whole page so it was sopping wet with the alum water. Then I put the fresh flowers on and sandwiched them, put my Teflon mat on top, and then took a dry heat iron on high and pressed them with the iron. And that's what you get when you put the iron on. I think that's cool. So the alum really brought out the tannins from these flowers especially, and a bit from the stems and the leaf here. This is just copy paper. So I thought you could always enhance these by adding your own watercolor to it. And this is the watercolor paper, not quite as defined as the copy paper, could be because this is much thinner. This is 140-pound weight of watercolor paper, but we could still play with this, definitely. I've done it with alum water, but I use a spray bottle on the paper and press and lift. Awesome! So do you get a lot of color from them when you do it that way too? I just thought it was kind of cool because I know a lot of people do the boiling of leaves or whatever. So I thought, well, why wouldn't it work with putting a really hot iron and pressing? So I tried it. You know me, I'll try anything. And I thought these turned out really cool. So I thought, let's take this one, and we have these. These were what was in the original, this here. So why not put these on and see what happens when we put them through the embossing machine. Why not? Can always make more. I think I'll put a couple pieces of copy paper on and we'll see what we get. I don't know if we'll get much out of it because it's already been it's been sitting out for 24 hours at least, but you never know. So I'm going to try it. And that's, I don't use my embossing machine all that much other than for this. I know it seems weird. Let's see. Do I have? Here, remember, I think I put one on the bottom and one on the top, if I remember correctly. So let's see what we get. Maybe we don't need that. We have to. No, that's too. I'm trying to remember what this was exactly. There we go. So let's see what we get. And then we'll just do some inking and a little bit of watercolor on top of it. Oh yeah. See, the flowers got smushed a bit. A little bit of a little more of the flower. You can see the back of the flower now. And the stems, you can see more of the stems. And then this is just the copy paper, so you can see how it's smushed. Now maybe if I had to put it not as tight, it wouldn't have had as much leaking. Oh, that's cool. That's dried. Okay, that is dried watercolor on the leaf. So actually, that's kind of cool. So it's actually going on your paper. This is dry paper, so let's see. Now that I have all my flowers out, it's a good time to experiment. Because that's pretty. So you see the veins more in there. Cool. So depending on, you know, the look you want, do you want the background done with watercolor first, or do you want the plant? Now let's see. Let's just try something before we start playing with these. And I want to see. I'll get another piece of watercolor paper and put that to the side for a moment. And these are the, yeah, if I was to if I wanted to have the watercolor transfer, let's see. Get a big brush. I got some blue here. Let's see. I'm just going to pat some of this down. Paint stems maybe. Just play with your stuff. See what you can do. There's lots of plants. You never know. We can always, it might be a little messy. Now, some people would probably just use a spray, but I wanted to see if it would work with watercolor. Do the pods. So I thought this would be kind of cool to have in your nature journal too. Okay, let's do the purple maybe. Let's see what happens. Purple and yellow make brown, so purple and maybe some red, just to give a little bit of a pop here and there. Make it up. Okay. Now I'm going to place it. I have that allium water and a big brush, and I'm going to wet this. Paper. And then I'm going to take these and I'm just going to put them on here. And we'll see what we get. Wipe that area so I don't get my Then let's put another one on top here. Never know what we'll get. Then we'll put that on. And we'll roll her through and see what we get. Be right back. I'm going to make it a little bit thinner, I think. It needs just a bit more. Hey, Rhonda. And see what we get. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. So there's the one that didn't have the water. So it's got part of the leaf and part of the watercolor because it was the reverse side. Hey, Joan. This one was the wet one, so you get a little bit, I would say, softer looking. So cool. That's neat looking too. And you could enhance that with all kinds of stuff. Let's see what we can do with them now. Either with pen or watercolor. I think I'll try this one first. And this is just copy paper. So it'd be very similar to the paper that I already have in my sketchbook. So this is just very thin. Might be a little bit thinner than my what's in here. But let's see, we could enhance some areas by adding the green, like there maybe the green in here, or maybe it might look just kind of cool using just pen work too. Let's see. It's 5. There's a 2. Yeah. All right, let's try this. So, do I want to do sepia or black? No, let's just do the black. So we could follow some of the lines here. This is a very thin pen nib. So it's kind of like tracing. You made a mask almost, but this is a unique one because it's one of a kind. So I think this would be really cool for your nature journals, and then you could use all kinds of flowers. You don't have to put them through the embossing machine because some of them are too thick and they'll just be a mess, a mushy mess. I'd like to try this on alcohol ink, permanent ink background. Yeah, I've done that using the permanent archival inks, and you just ink the flowers. They really turn out awesome. So you can either just have the drawing of this, or you could color it. I think it looks cool. Here, I'll take you in a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. So you can leave parts of it or do all the lines that you see. There's many ways of inking this too. I kind of like leaving bits and pieces of it. The leaves, we could do the same. Let's see. Or just the flowers, I don't know. Let's see. We can always put some more color on this too by using our watercolor, or if you don't want to use watercolor, colored pencil, magic markers, alcohol markers, whatever you got. Kind of gives you a template of where to draw. So that's kind of cool. What else can we do? If you have any of these, I think these would really work cool. So, see, that's that blue. Let's see what periwinkle blue maybe. Let's get another piece of paper, try it out. I'll just do it on the back here. Yeah, that'll work. So these have a really, really nice sharp end to them. So you could do very, very light, more detailed work with these. I think they would be cool. So not everywhere, but see if it moves. Watercolor brush. Smaller one here. Doubt if it'll move. Let's see. Try it. No. Or let's see. Maybe if we wet the paper first. This is just paper, so you know it's not gonna do a whole lot. We'll try some on the watercolor paper. A little bit. Could take some and just use your paintbrush too. Just to darken some of the areas. Okay, so we can just leave it like that. Now iron it, and then you could put it right into your book. Let's see. Let's try this one. This is the watercolor one. Let's see if we can get it to move at all. I'll try a little bit of water in an area. Let's just see what we can do. Not a whole lot. These are so pigmented. Once they're down, they're down. So but it's pretty. Try, let's see, what color was that? Just using some watercolor out of the pan. Making some add a little of this in it. Yeah, it doesn't want to move. These pens are more for detail work. Do some green. And then we'll go in with a bit of pen work. Even if it's loose, you don't have to stick to that. You can make it more colorful if you wanted to. Just thought it would be fun to try. Alright, we'll put that aside to dry. And let's see what we can do with this. I'm going to dry that up, it's still a little damp. So, what if we used sepia or maybe even a blue? Do I have a blue pen down here? Let's see. An ink joy. Let's see if that's... I don't know. Or green. I think I'm going to try sepia. Do we have a flower here I can look at? Oh, did I use them all? I think I used them all. Yep. I did. Oh well. To just play a little bit. Just to enhance them. I like the sepia on it. It's not as harsh looking. I just find when you're drawing and using watercolor for florals, they're more delicate looking if you use the sepia. And there's different colors of sepia too. And this one's a Unipin. And it's a little bit darker than the Micron. Micron's a little more on the red side, I find. And maybe you want to just do a bit, not the whole thing, just to indicate where things are. I can see the indentation from the plant when it was embossed, so that's kind of cool. Yeah, I like it. So I could just do the flowers and the stems and then leave the leaves the way they are, or the vice versa. Some petals. Can make up some petals from the smooshes. Why not? That's kind of cool. You see? Just very delicate looking. That's a leaf there. So by just doing some of it, kind of leaves your mind to the rest, which is what I like. So you don't have to do the whole thing, just bits, so that your mind kind of fills in the remainder of it. What other? I'm going to bring a leaf or stem down here. This looks like it was a leaf or something. Part of a leaf in here. There. It's very delicate. So you could actually add color to this if you wanted to also. Even though there is a lot of color to it, sometimes just enhancing bits and pieces here and there gives it a more dimensional look to it. And then you could use this space up here for what it is, or some journaling on there, or just a sentiment of some sort would also be nice. Or just leave it the way it is. You don't have to put sentiments on these. Sometimes it's good on its own. Now we could, let's see, take some of this purple, darken a few areas. To give it a little more depth. They are really pretty flowers though. And depending on your paper you're using, depends on the hue you get. So some of them will end up being a little more bluer, and some may be purple. I find the copy paper is the ones that tend to be a little more blue. So this is copy paper. Let's see, let's do a little bit more green. Do I want this color or darker? I'll put a little bit of gold green in there. A little bit of sepia with that to get it more on a olivey color. A little bit of a glaze on there, just on the ends, so it shows the shape of the petal a little more. Getting quiet. Happens when I'm concentrating. Just a bit there. Bring that out. Hey Deb, welcome. Glad you're here. Right there. It's just a little bit. Let's dry it. So as you can see, now you could do even more to this. Depends how much work you want to put into it. So you could do reverse painting also, so maybe you want these to stand out a little bit more, so you could go with a really dark color in here so that the leaves stand out. Probably wouldn't go dark in the top parts here because of the dioxazine purple, but you could go darker, more of it into indigo blue maybe, that type of thing, or a dark green. This one here, this is pretty. This is on the copy paper. See the blue? You can see more of the leaf pattern there. And these are kind of cool too. I kind of like these just the way they are, with the blue and the green. The green is actually the juices from the plant itself. There's this one. You can see some of the veining too in the flowers there. There's many ways of playing with your flowers, either drawing them or not. See, these are some of the ones I did last year, and as you can see, they do not fade, which is great. I have a whole pile of these somewhere, but I'm not sure where I put them. This is pretty. I really like this one. More of a sepia color. There's some plant remnants. Just scrape them, they come off. That's really pretty. I think I might use that one in my journal as is. So I don't think I need to do any pen work on this one. So I could put it in here. Yeah. Just staple it in or glue it in, whatever. Although I do really like this one too. I think that is cool. On that one. I like them all. I like them all. Let's see. Have to take off here. too close. Off a little bit more than needed. Hey, Devin. So then we can just put her in there. Like so. And then we have a, I like that though. I don't know. They're all beautiful. But they would make awesome journal covers or whatever. Okay, so I'm going to end up putting this one in, I think. And I'll just probably use some score tape. It's fairly flat. Anyways, so and since I'm not doing anything else on this, I don't have to, you know, have the whole thing glued. It's just going to be in my art journal or garden journal, I guess you could say. So it's not going to get a lot of wear and tear. I'm new at watercolor. I journal. I appreciate your art. I do not have much stuff yet, but I'm learning. Awesome, Deb. You don't need a whole lot to do art journaling, depending on what kind of art journaling you want to do. If it's just to relax and enjoy something, like a hobby, or are you going to be documenting stuff in it? It's going to be a daily journal or just something to craft in. Depends on how much stuff you need and what is it that you really want to learn. Is it watercolor, acrylics, paper? Start with the one thing that you really like. And there's always, always substitutes to a lot of product that you're seeing. I know you can get caught up with the want of stuff, but there are lots of stuff that you can use that will do the same thing instead of having to buy all these different brands. Here. Then I can put, I don't know, something in here, probably, about the Roseanne, it's called. Geranium. When it blooms or whatever. Watercolor, yeah, that's, I find the watercolor and documenting, I love doing that. Like this whole book here, that's all it is, watercolor. There might be a little bit of color pencil and pen. That's about it. And you can do all kinds of stuff. You'll never be bored. There's so many areas that you can play with watercolor, pen, and colored pencil. And play with your watercolor, because there's so many different ways of using it, depending on the style you like. This is just very loose, only a couple layers, but it does the job for me. It's not a masterpiece that you would hang on a wall, but I enjoy doing this, and I enjoy going through my books and looking at what I did. I learn by what I do also, so you just have to play with it and enjoy what you're doing. That's the biggest thing. Enjoy the process of arting, of creating. Because if you're not enjoying it and you're rushing through it to get it done, then you're not going to continue doing it. But if you learn to enjoy and relax in doing what you're doing, then it'll always be something you'll come to when you need to relax or something to do. But if it's stressful to you, then you won't. I did do this. It's a bud and one that's partially open, and I think I will ink it in. And I'm going to use a sepia again because I like the look of sepia. Maybe I could just leave it, this drawing. Sometimes that looks nice too, is draw half of it and then leave the rest with color. Doesn't all have to be colored. And that's the neat thing about journaling, is nobody has to look at this journal but you. So experiment in it. That's how you learn what style you like. And what type of sketching you like. There's many styles of sketching also. There's lines, forms, there's here, what is that? Let's see. I think it was in this one. Yeah. This was done a few weeks back. Poppies. But again, this is only a few layers. This is another neat thing to do too. It's called, oh, let me think, neurographic art. And it's supposed to be very relaxing to do. And there are specific ways that you start. And if you go on YouTube and look it up, you'll find all kinds of videos on it. But it is really fun to play with. And each one you do is different. And you can't make a mistake. So it's all more of an abstract, but this one I originally started like this, and then when I turned it I saw the face. And then this just appeared as a kerchief, maybe hair here. Like you see things in it. So it's fun to do just doodles too. So experiment with your drawing and have fun with it. There's lots of ways of doing it. I could do hash lines. I could take graphite pencil and do the shading, would be another way of finishing it. Eraser. That's fine. This is just sketchbook paper. It's nothing special. I get overwhelmed because I want to do so many things I need to remind. Yeah, it's a very easy thing to fall into. You see all these awesome videos and Instagram posts and stuff, and you think, oh, I want to do that. Yeah, you have to remind yourself. Use what you got first. And then once you start running out of those things, then venture into a new one. Not about how good you are. Don't fall in that trap. It's all about enjoying And this takes practice. You get better at what you're doing, depending on, you know, like, depending on how you want to. I like to challenge myself. Some people don't like doing that. I really enjoy a challenge. So I like to try new things, see if I can do it. I never put myself in that criticized spot of, oh, that's terrible, or, you know. I always consider it as a learning experience. It's never bad, it's never wrong, it's a learning experience. And if you can get yourself into that mindset, you'll go places. You'll do a whole lot more than you thought you could, because that's not holding you back then, because you're doing it to learn. Okay, I'm just gonna put a light coat of this green here. Darken it with some now with these sketchbook papers, you do have to be careful not to wet it for too long. That's the only bad thing about them. They're not meant to be used for a lot of wet media. And I just mixed a little bit of sepia with that green, and it gives me a nice color there. Now with the sketchbooks too, you can't really blend really well with watercolor, but you can take colored pencils and shade up areas that you want to. So that's what I normally do. Or you can go back and make some darker areas where the shadows might exist. On the bottom of this stem here. So I'll just add a little bit more of that same mix that I did. So I know that down underneath here, and on the bottom of these stems, they will be darker. This is the shadow cast by them. But I could go in with a colored pencil too and do that. So a little bit of shadow under there from that petal. And then just a bit in there, a little more there. be a little more there too from this. And down the sides, leave the center a little bit lighter. And start off light too, because you can always darken, but with sketchbook paper you're not going to get a chance to go light. You can't lift watercolor on sketchbook paper. So different greens in the bud. Sometimes there's a little bit of red in them, say on the tops, just a bit. Okay, so this part here is the rose itself, but this is the, those, I don't know what they're called, calyx maybe? That protect the rose when it's in the bud form. Now I'm not working off of a reference, I'm just kind of winging this one. But if you really want a precise, get a reference. There's lots and lots of reference sites. If you want one that you can use without worrying about copyright, Unsplash is really good. They have a lot of great photographs there. Or if you're doing any kind of flowers, I have tons and tons that you can use on Instagram. It's under Kathy Arbor. So feel free. I think that's part of a bud. I drew it off of something, but I didn't keep the picture. Well, that would be dark in there. And this probably would be dark because it's the inside of the, it's kind of folded still. Darker in there. There. Put a little bit of red on there on the tip. Nice bright green. Let's see, maybe that's too bright. Yeah. Just a little bit more greeny there. Okay, so I'm guessing because it's kind of a peachy, corally color, it would probably be more on the dark side. So I'm going to take, let's see, this, I think it's Coral from Daniel Smith, Coral Rose or something like that. It's a beautiful color. I'm just going to use the side of my brush to sweep it. A little bit of water to go up here. And I can always add a little bit of highlight with colored pencil if I want to. Let's see. Maybe a little yellow. Let's see. Right in here. And a little bit more of that coral, but I'm going to add a little bit of red to it. I want it a little more darker on the bottom here. This is kind of a flip. I'm going to take a little bit more of that darker green that had the brown in it, so more of an olivey browny green color, just for a little bit. Shadowed areas in here. Alrighty. That needs a little bit darker in here too, just around, because it's a little too light for my liking there. It would be rounder, so darker on the bottom part because the shadow would be cast on it. And it's getting pretty, let's dry that. It's getting pretty wet. Thanks, Devin. Alright, so we could take, let's see, some colored pencils and do a little bit of highlighting maybe. Let's see what we got here. A nice kind of soft yellow maybe right in here, just to lighten that area up just a tad. And a soft pink. That might work. Just highlight the center where the bud would be the highest, the roundest part, just to give it a little bit of dimension. And right in here, where it would be. And then greens, we can do a little bit of olive green. Around that base there, just to darken it a tad. Maybe up the sections. And maybe just down the bottom sides of these leaves. And if they're crossing over. Do that too. And this needs it. Okay, so this should be dark in here. And in here, because it's folding over, so this would be darker. Maybe it has a line up there. I don't know. A little bit of shadowing in there, maybe on the edge there. And then, let's see, the pinky part. Let's see, just a smidge of pink on the very tip here. And a light green, or even a yellow would do. Mint green or white. Let's see, white. There it is. Just a little bit of white there as a highlight. And then I think I'm going to darken that a little bit more in here. Just a smidge. I could have gone back with colored pencil too, or colored pencil, watercolor. Thanks, Tori. It doesn't take much. You just kind of have to play with it. Let's see, maybe a little bit in here. Might be a little bit of a shadow from the thickness of this, because they're kind of overlapping each other. So you might see a little bit of here. Okay, I think that one's done. I could put veins in here, but I don't have the, well, maybe I could try it. Just a few. This is the fold over, so the veining would probably be going up like this. Just put a few in. that. Okay, so that. I don't think I had any others to redo. Nope. That's it. So just this one. And I'm not sure if I want to put any kind of pen work on that or not. I kind of like it the way it is. I know it doesn't pop like the other ones, but it's kind of its own its own watercolor. It's natural. If you were if you went to the stream last Thursday, we had internet problems because of storms, but I can show you how it turned out. And I'm almost done doing the editing. I'll have it up probably tonight or tomorrow. This is how she turned out. So it's a little blue bird sitting on a branch of blueberries. Negative painting? Yeah, that would look cool, Devin. I might try that. It'd have to be, because these are fairly light, it'd have to be fairly light or dark. Yeah, so I will have that up for you, and I will have the traceable for the members. So if you're a member, look for that. I'll put that up tonight for you. And if you want to try it, yeah, you can. The background are from my week before when we did these prints with acrylic paint. So all I did was use one of these for the background and then just did a little bit of stenciling on it to enhance it. So I hope you give it a try, and if you're interested in any other media or subject matter in watercolor, leave a comment below so I can get some more ideas for you. Next week I'm probably going to be doing landscape. I haven't done a landscape in a while, and it might be just from my backyard or could be down the street. But yeah, I think we need to get into some more landscapes. Hey Dot, glad to see you. Hope you're doing well. Thanks, Devin. So I'll let you guys go. It just started raining here, so I'm done just in time. So I won't have any blips in my video. And yeah, we'll see you on Thursday, and we'll probably be doing an acrylic painting. And I'm not sure. I have a couple in mind, but I'm not sure which ones to do yet. So have a fantastic day, everybody, and take care, and we'll see you later. Bye for now.